Welcome back, boys. Finally back after a little bit of a break. We had a couple things to take care of, and now we're back. This episode, we go into a little bit of a Truborn recap, go into Sheffield wildcard picks, as well as talk about Avery and Tony's experience at the Truborn meet. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the Podium Talk podcast. All right, boys, welcome back to Podium Talk. We're back. We took a little bit of a break. I was gone, but we made it back. Let's start with a little bit of a checkup. Tony, how you been?
I'm good. Training, yeah, it's like phenomenal. I don't really know. Avery doesn't give me enough love or support, but
I feel that.
yeah, the workouts have been all right. And coming up on the end of this internship, which is nice, I finally get the hell out of Hilton Head and get to a better gym. So life for me could be a little bit worse. Damn sure it could be better, but we live to see another week.
Beautiful. How's the coach been doing?
Actually, Eli, before we get to me, why were you gone?
I got married.
Shout out to the wife.
I get to wear some metal on my finger. Shout out to the wife. She's working a shift right now. She'll be home in like an hour.
Hell yeah, taking care of you already.
She made me some meatloaf yesterday.
Really, I mean, I didn't have the best block last month, I guess you could say, but I mean, we're bouncing back from that. Started meet prep this week for the Olympia in Orlando, November 3rd, I believe November 3rd. So I got to get things back rolling. Other than that, don't really have a meet or anything since we just did Truborn until we have nationals coming up. So just starting meet prep, getting things rolling, man.
You're already looking a lot better in prep now.
Oh,
You're already pulling some weight.
That's week one.
Less complaining too. You're already zoned. For me, training's always bad. It stays bad. I'm just a bad lifter in general. I can't lift weights. That's just how we do it. So let's go into our debut of Tony on the mic. Tony, how did you feel for however many hours talking to no one and just going on and on?
Talking to myself. Well, first and foremost, yeah, I did gloss over that. Eli, congrats, bro. Because that's insane. That's really cool that you got fucking married. But anyways, so for my commentating thing, I'll try to I don't know, I guess explain it the best I can. It was definitely an experience that I was not expecting. It was just super straightforward and they had everything set up for me. So I just showed up and put the headset on and unmuted myself and I was talking. It was funny because it was their first time doing the whole live stream thing. And then it was also, I guess they were expecting me to have experience. And I was like, nah, this is my first time doing it too. So that was kind of funny. But I mean, after 10 minutes, I was super comfortable. And yeah, we actually pulled in a lot of views, all together across all 3 days on YouTube, at least. That's the only thing we live streamed on. On YouTube, we got about 2.5 thousand views across all 3 days or 3 sessions. And yeah, I was really happy with that and stuff. And, it worked out really well, got paid, everything like that. They liked it, the people that I was working with. And they said that they would get back to me on it. So they would next time they have a meet, they would hit me up. So I think that's going to be a more consistent thing. But
side note, actually, you said how many across the 3 days or 2 days?
2.5 thousand.
I just wanted to keep note of that because I've never really kept track of what our local meets do. So I mean, that'd be a good thing to keep note of,
Yeah, I think that was a really good, because I mean, obviously if you look at worlds, the top of that is 100,000, which obviously is worlds, and it's what is that 75 times as many, but still 100,000 and 2.5. I don't know. It's really good in my opinion for a local meet. I feel your average local meet is gonna get probably less than 1,000, right?
I don't even think every meet. I mean, probably now you would hope so, but in the past year, 2 years, I don't think every meet had a live stream. So
I feel like most local have it. Like I don't think Savannah did. My debut at Lifting the House, they didn't have one there.
That's true. We didn't have one for Liz in the House. I forgot.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I've
I
only
think
had
State.
states.
Yeah, I think State was the only one. So, the live stream coming out is huge, man. I think it's gonna be a really normal thing now. Obviously it was a 100-person meet, so it was, they had the live stream at the Atlanta Open, so it is like getting more of like popular for sure. But
I mean,
God, like,
that was prime time too, though. It was supposed to be a big deal. So
Mhm.
yeah,
And Truborn is, I mean, they're just doing an excellent job at pulling people into the space. So they got a bunch of people watching that would probably never know what powerlifting is. They had a bunch of first time lifters out there. They might be like big GA cult, but they do good. They bring people into the space and they got some strong people. They ran a good meet.
no, it was a good meet for sure. I had a good time.
And Tony kind of got the best setup with everyone being new, getting to start new, coming into it fresh, and now you can pull me into it and you can have dialogue.
yeah,
Because I knew if I had to do it alone, it'd be so awkward. I would just be sitting in silence.
yeah. And
So
it's like
props to
way
you.
it's yeah, it gets tough, it gets monotonous and stuff, especially like when it is like a local like meet and it's a lot of first timers. The honestly like one of the best parts about it to me was like kind of like just like how like I was often like given the opportunity to kind of explain rules and like technicalities and stuff because of just how many
Hmm.
people were like missing lifts. So it was like kind of a good way for me to practice like explaining things and like,
Hmm.
you know, kind of like refamiliarizing myself with the standards and the rules and stuff. And because there wasn't a lot of like big lifts, like obviously there were like some really good lifts, but there weren't like it wasn't like Sheffield where you're like having to sit there and like
Look at world
analyze everything.
records.
Yeah, like go over like world records and stuff like that. It's like just like a small meet, and then there's like maybe one or two battles here or there, like where like you actually kind of want to see who wins. But nah, it was really cool being able to like actually,
Hmm.
you know, just talk freely.
Yeah. And it was super cool to listen to it because I know me and you have talked about that for months now, just wanting to get onto that. And we study the sport and we study the rules and we study how. I mean, you're beautiful on kilos. You got the numbers in your head. You're popping them out. I got
No,
to get better at
actually,
that.
I do remember like one of my first times hanging out with Tony. Like I I went down there to Statesboro just to watch the Arnold, and I will say that boy Tony was automatic with kilos. They're like, oh, they're throwing what on, and
Hmm.
I'm still like struggling to get
Yeah.
down with.
I mean, we don't have the advantage of lifting on kilos. We're here in commercial gyms struggling with,
I will take that excuse at every opportunity.
but
Oh
it
no,
was it
man,
was really cool to listen.
I'm in the commercial gym now too, man.
Not for much longer, right? You're almost out of there.
Hopefully, man. I don't know. We'll see what's up with the next place, but
Yeah, but from one thing to another, now let's go to Avery and his handling and coaching experience. Another thing that I want to do as well as commentate and why I study. I want to coach and handle. So how'd you do?
It was a good weekend. I don't really have any complaints. Like the warm up room was big, even though like 100-person meet and Truborn's not the biggest facility. I guess the like if I had to be the most critical thing is I know every time I went to the bathroom there was like a line and that was the
Oof.
only bathroom and so for athletes. Then I know that probably could have got pretty inconvenient at times, but other than that, the guys I had competing were Easton, who went 8 for 9, and the only thing we missed was his third squat, where we kind of took a leap, And but there's nothing on the line at a local meet, so there was really no point in not taking it. And then Nigel, who went 6 for 9, and his struggles was on the first one. He never really got the start command, so he timed out for that and everything. And so we just took that, but we took a huge leap for his third, and he still smoked it at like 474. And then on bench, he actually performed much better than he did in training, and everything went well with that. And then I also handled Stefan, but we'll get into that later.
Hmm.
I'm completely drawing a blank as well. My third guy. Oh, Gage actually.
Gage, you drew a blank on Gage. He's gonna hate that.
Gage is gonna love that. But Gage
Good.
was just honestly he had he had a tough time training this summer with all the
Hmm.
work he was doing and everything going on that. So we were honestly just going in to have a good time and put 5 keys on his total from states, even though he was a lot heavier. But that man was malnourished at states, and I didn't even know about it till we were competing. So
Hmm.
it was a fun weekend.
Yeah, it's tough being a man and having to go to work and train. Only the strong can do it, I guess, the
Man,
better lifters.
man, and like 11, 12 hours in the factory will definitely impact training, man.
Yeah. But yeah, Gage probably won't even listen to this far, so he won't.
I think that's good. I think that's good. I said out there because I'm gonna get clipped. Like everyone's gonna talk about how soft I am, about how like 11, 12 hours of impact training.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I wasn't there. I haven't seen the production fully. I've only listened to a little bit of Tony. How was like the setup? How was the platform? How were the referees, announcers, everything? Like if you had to rate this meet on a big scale, what are we thinking?
Okay, that's a great question. I didn't even think about like rating it, but
I mean, like we're gonna
it,
have like a meet of the year for local. So I don't know if this is we'll see what it is, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I first off, yeah, like Avery said, the setup was really cool. Like they had like really cool lights and the lighting was good and everything like that. Like I thought it looked really like cool. Like you can see all the videos and stuff people have, and it looked really like like it didn't look like silly, like unofficial. It looked like a serious meet.
And
hmm.
some people like could have complained about the music, but like it wasn't it's not like the OG modern, like only rock and stuff. Like they had like some very weeby stuff, some Star
Yeah,
Wars stuff
Star
in there,
Wars,
I
Duel
so like,
mentioned
Fates.
so
yeah,
that
I
was cool.
mentioned that on the commentating. I was like, oh dang, they got the Star Wars, they got
Yeah.
the
I was waiting
know
for
what
you
I'm
to
saying?
notice. I was listening. I was like, this is Duel of Fates. I know y'all
Yeah,
aren't as
exactly,
deep into
bro.
Star Wars as I was
That's
like,
always fun.
That was really cool to me. I really like that because there were some moments where people would literally walk out and then it's like, yeah, dual fates and like the scene. If I
No,
walked out and that was
that's so
playing,
hard. Yeah,
yeah, I would have been like, oh, I have to deadlift this. Like
hmm.
yeah, bro.
I walk out and yeah, it's some like on my I remember vividly like my first state meet, my third meet, I went out and pulled like 562 to like I don't even know what the song was. I think it was like some sort of like weird like country like
Yeah, I
song.
guess I don't really remember mine, but I remember Easton was going out for his first squat, and it was like it was the Star Wars one. I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna hate
Yeah.
this, bro. To start his career off with a Star Wars song.
And then
That
people
shit
like your family that doesn't know, they're like, why'd you pick that song? I'm like, yeah, man, we don't pick the audio.
it was tough to me, man. I liked it, but music was yeah good for what the venue was. They did pretty good with I'm not a big fan of how like there were so many chairs, kind of like because there was like no way for you to like go up front if you really wanted to. Like you were kind of stuck in the back because like all the chairs were together and there were just like a bunch of people sitting in a. I don't know. It was just kind of weird. But it was like a really like it's in a small gym, so warm up room was like big, like with all the platforms and stuff. Still like really crowded and cluttered, like people leaving stuff everywhere and like plates everywhere. It's really tough, but that's how warm up rooms get. Um, as far as the judging, that really threw me off, man. Especially on that third session. If you know, you know. The third session on Sunday, bro. Like people were getting called for everything, like everything. It was insane. It was like, in my opinion, really entertaining because I feel like that's like the entertaining part about powerlifting is like
Hmm.
not like necessarily like people hitting. Obviously, like the biggest lifts are really entertaining, but like it's really like fun to me to watch people. This is gonna sound bad, but it's fun to me to watch people like miss lifts because of
It's
how damn.
it's fun to be watch people be frustrated because they don't know why they didn't get a lift, and you're just
Hmm.
like, win it.
I mean, think
Yeah.
about it, dude. It's always entertaining. Like in Worlds, whenever dudes go over there, and then it's like, oh my god, like Taylor is third squat, like that
Hmm.
should have counted.
Well,
Everybody's into that.
well,
And then
Worlds has a different element to it. The jury kind of It
Yeah,
makes it a
yeah,
little tougher.
that is true. That is true. But still, I mean, like whenever you see that crazy standard, it also like just puts way more like kind of respect onto the people that are hitting lifts on the day.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
shout out Lifter Jack. He went 9 for 9. Like, dog,
Shout out
like,
Lifter Jack.
yeah, he went 9 for 9. It's like, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? Good stuff. Everybody, dude, left and right. Every flight, I want to say somebody bombed out.
Hmm.
Like, I want to say, like, or maybe that's maybe that's it. What's it like? Maybe a
Exaggeration.
stretch, exaggeration. Yeah, but
Yeah, it's probably an exaggeration, but there was a couple. So
Hmm.
nah, it had to be at least 5 people that bombed out at that meet.
Which, I
I
mean, that's
think.
what's going to happen at this type of meet. Local meet, Truborn having the newer lifters, newer handlers out there,
it's
people
really a
making
local thing,
stretches.
a lot of times when you just go out there and like your friends are handling you and like there's so much emotion or like just friendship going into the call.
Hmm.
It was just but the judging was strict end of the day, but I liked it personally. Like I think that's how it should be always, no matter what meet you go to. I think it should be tough. I think you should go in and you should get punched in the mouth, especially at these lower meets. I think it
Hmm.
really that's what separates us from just people in the gym. Like we need to have that strict standard where we're
Yeah.
hitting depth, we're getting real pauses, we're locking every joint on our
Well, I was about
body.
to say, and it's also like you also just get caught up in the heat of things and like you don't realize you did something. Like for example, with Gage's bench, I didn't really think like he did get the pause was long, but it was because it wasn't completely motionless. And I didn't really
Hmm.
see it at first. And you just get caught up in things. But going back at it, like there was definitely a little bit of movement, and like they can't give you that start command or whatever until there's no motion with it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why you just got to be like impeccable with your training
Hmm.
and time.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I like that point Tony made about separating us from just regular lifters in the gym is the rules we go by.
I've
It's
actually
a,
gotten into heated arguments into the gym about like people like, "Yeah, bro, like I hit this lift in the gym. Like you're not really like it's not that different just because you go do it in a meet. I'm like, bro, like it absolutely it's so frustrating, man.
hmm. And
It's
they'll
so
never know
frustrating.
too. They'll never know. They'll never go out and actually work
And
for something.
and we sound pretentious right now, but
I mean, I
whatever.
am pretentious, but
yeah.
uh,
I can confidently say it. Even across like federations, dude, it's a crazy because you got to think like you know people want to believe, like you guys said, that like you can like it carries over, going on this bench you've never been on, like deadlifting a certain way where, you have to you can't use straps and you have to, you can't have any downward motion, you can't use your thighs whatsoever. Squatting like all the way to depth and then waiting on commands when you're full of excitement and like you just can't wait to re-rack it. These things catch
mhm.
people like crazy. Even like the biggest thing to me is like the elbows and the knees.
Dude,
Yeah.
Um,
I guess my
always
bad. I
on
guess the
all three
thing
lifts, it's always every lift. There was somebody with soft knees on squat,
Hmm.
someone with soft elbows. They couldn't get the start command, and then they were confused and it threw off their groove. And then someone with soft knees, and we can get into that one later on soft knees on deadlift because people totally forget that that's a thing, but it'll hit you like a brick whenever you see two reds and a white,
Hmm.
and it was your opener.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
now,
I mean,
the one thing that people miss lifts on, like it's probably not very frequent at all, especially the more you get into the sport. But like putting the squat back before they tell you to, I just don't get it because sometimes I do have like the bar is like actually like, sliding down my back, like I'm
Hmm.
trying to escape death.
Yeah.
But most people don't have that, so I don't understand why you're just trying to squat it and immediately like lean into the rack, man.
I mean, it's just a habit of their training. Like me personally, on every lift except deadlift, obviously, I'm letting the spotters take it. I'm not racking it. Like I'm waiting for that little pull you feel. Like I hit the squat, I hear the rack, they're pushing a little bit. Like they're there to walk it in with you. So there's really no point of racking yourself. But I mean,
Yeah,
I've hit all of my lifts are 3 white lights or 3 red lights. I've never had a 2 white lights at all, 2 reds at all.
that's
I'm
actually really impressive.
I mean, I'm a rookie, so it's not that impressive,
Pros
but
can, I mean, not a rookie. You can beat it twice, but
yeah, I mean, I'm retired now, so it's gonna finish that way. But yeah, so I'm kind of distracting us a little bit, but this is kind of exciting to me because I love hearing about the sport. So let me ask you this: give me your favorite part of the meet and your least favorite part of the meet. So like your biggest complaint, but your biggest praise. We can start with you, Tony.
Oh, biggest complaint and biggest praise.
Hmm.
I would say like one thing that like I wish was a little bit better. Was on set. I mean, the only thing I really was like kind of like angry, like not angry, but like kind of like this is
Frustrated.
getting kind of crazy. Was like on Saturday, it went from like 8 to 8. Like it was like a 12-hour meet for 2 sessions.
Hmm.
And I think it's mainly because what happened was like they completed the first session at like 12, which was cool. And then we didn't start the next session until 3. So we had like
Mm.
a whole 3-hour break where like everybody was kind of just roaming around doing nothing before the next session started. And
I
that just
mean,
made the day, I don't
I
know.
I
It
feel
just
like it's just customary though, because like think about meets like of how hard it is to get people to volunteer for
Hmm.
anyway. Like there's for that to happen, you would need people to be weighing in, doing check-ins in the middle of the flight that's going on.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's already a one platform meet. Like there's not any spare referees or anything, you know.
yeah, it was just rough. That was me personally. I know it's hard to deal, like it's hard to do, especially with a one platform meet. I guess that's the
Hmm.
reason it was so long. But man, like it was a long day. It was tough. So that was one thing I personally didn't like, was just how long I was there on Saturday. And
Hmm.
then the thing I loved was yeah, man, I loved the like how like passionate like and like just how into it seemed that the lifters themselves were
Hmm.
especially like towards the end. It seemed like a lot of people were starting to trying to get into kind of getting into the like actual like reason like why we do powerlifting. I saw a lot of people lifting to try to get a certain placement. Like we saw a
Hmm.
lot of that. We saw a lot of like reactions, and we saw a lot of just, I don't know, fulfillment and stuff. I really did enjoy seeing the lifters like, you know, just doing it, man. I love
Hmm.
seeing these guys work hard and like grind out lifts. And I just think the lifters were really, we had a good group of people there. Nobody really gave anybody any problems. I don't, as far as I know, nobody broke any rules. Like nobody dumped the bar. Nobody was an asshole to the refs. We just
Hmm.
had people come in. If you bombed out, whatever, just keep going, and you just
Yeah.
don't get a total, but have fun on the day. Like we had multiple people that bombed out on a squat, and they finished their deadlifts, and everybody still cheered for them.
Hmm.
So overall, I forgot to rate it. Rate of the meet, I would say, I don't know, man. I liked it. I think it was a good, well ran meet. I would say like an 8.5 or 8.4 or something.
Hmm.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Especially for like how Georgia's growing and this being the new age of local meets, live streams. And to expand on what you said, just the passion of the newer lifters. It used to be, only the people who are on the top get hyped and they get really stoked. But now it's just like I PR'd and people are like, we see lifters at Truborn all the time just yelling and screaming. We got Zerlot's crew there yelling and screaming, being hyped every gym session. They're just truly passionate for the sport. And that's
It
just
was
like to see
it was
that and
for the
keep them.
summer. It was a crazy group of 75s. It was a crazy group of
Yeah.
energy. Drew born in there.
Yeah. I mean, that's just beautiful to see because that's just where the sport's going. We're getting away from these old lifters, Equip's dying, Raw's coming in, people are screaming, no one's being quiet anymore. There's still a few gatekeepers, but most people want to flaunt everything. We're gonna bring up gatekeeping every episode, but let's go to Avery. Biggest praise, biggest complaint, and we'll get to a little recap.
Uh, I guess if I had to say biggest complaint, is I felt like at times it was a very chatty crowd. I feel like it was a very talkative crowd, and I
Mm,
mean that's probably because it was like a lot of local lifters, a lot of people's families in there, But
they're trying to learn. Oh, he froze.
and not everyone's accustomed to it. But like yeah, and maybe it was just there like some sessions as opposed to others. So if I had to take that back, I'd say for me personally, there's got to be another bathroom or something like that because for lifters that could be such a big deal. I know Tony
Yeah.
saw. I mean, like this can be the first inside joke where I have a little bladder. I'm
Hmm.
gonna go back and forth to the bathroom, bro.
Every
Like that's
15
just.
minutes.
And then my biggest praise, I mean, yeah, I'll just go with the warm up room. Like I feel like because I mean, Eli, you remember lifting the house last year?
Hmm.
Like we were in there with pound plates and
CrossFit
it's
racks.
yeah, and even if like there was only one TSS like
Hmm.
rack and platform or whatever in the back room, having those strong arms and everything, that's not the
Hmm.
worst thing, man. Like as long as you've got all like power bars in there and kilos, man, you're rocking.
Yeah.
Like
Which I mean, there's a certain thing to like having like lifting the house, the warm up room. I didn't mind it. It was my debut meet. I didn't know too much about kilos. I've lifted on a few times at Marietta Barbell, but I still remember like the weird struggles. Like forgot to put clips on one side. The weights are sliding. This is not a power bar. The weights are slick. And then us leaving like 500 pounds on the deadlift bar, and Drew calling us out over the the mic. Like that's just a good memory. But when you go to states and you have those nice warm up rooms, you got Truborn giving us all these weights for a day. It's just you feel like a next level type of lifter. You
yeah,
feel
no,
a little
and
bit better
definitely
about
going
yourself.
forward, everyone always needs to clean up their weights, leaving the warm up
Yes.
room. When just because you're done warming up, you get all those bar like plates off the bar, man. Like let's
Drew, we
Yeah.
apologize. It
just
was
covering
not.
bases.
I
Yeah,
blame it on Avery.
definitely. It was crazy, dude. We having to unload 200 keys off of a squat bar. The bench is was wild. Well, that I mean, that's gotta change for sure.
Hmm. All right, well, let's go into a little recap. Y'all tell me what was notable. I still haven't finished watching. I really don't want to spoil it with the results, but tell me what you saw. Go through the podium, whatever you like.
Well, I'll start off for the girls. I know we had Kelly Whitted win the whole thing. Super entertaining to
Actually,
watch.
actually, before Tony starts this, I'll preface this by saying predictions were rough. Predictions were rough across the board.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't know like a lot of like I knew like most of the people. Like my first and second were there, like for the males, but for the girls, I didn't really know anything. So, uh, as far as the girls go, didn't know who Kelly Whitted was, but she is in the open division, came in, totaled 1,080 as a female. She was in the 220 plus class, but that was good enough to get her a 407 Dodge. She won the whole
Hmm.
thing for females, so that was insane. Just watching her, she was you could tell when somebody like really knows what they're doing whenever they're surrounded by people that are like, yeah, like we said, first meets. She was in there really like just lifting like you would
Well,
expect an experienced person to lift.
she
So
comes out. She comes out of Steel Society, so she's around a lot of seasoned lifters.
yeah,
Hmm.
she knew what she was doing. So she did that. Vivian Vu came in second. She's also an open lifter. She was in the 123 class, came out with a 722 total. Very good, very impressive. I think she went 8 for 9 and like missed her third squat, but either way, did not know who she was, and she just came out with a 393 or a 392 dots. And then third, we had our Ilona, the big deadlifter girl, the one that we had going first. She ended
Hmm.
up getting a 376 dots. But she missed a lot of lifts. I'm not gonna lie. I think she went like 6 for 9. But either way, still had a she had a 876 total. So as far as the girls go, we were way off. We didn't know who Vivian and Kelly were. Sorry to those two women, but They were really entertaining. The first session, in my opinion, was probably the second best session out of the three, which was surprising. I was, no offense, but I wasn't expecting it to be that entertaining. So watching the girls is super entertaining in my opinion. If Avery, you want to start off with, the guys.
I mean the guys it was a solid group. I mean, even the lighter late class, there would be like a 4 or 5 way battle going for a podium, So that was fun to see, even if like the absolute weights on the bar weren't exactly the most. But to go over first, we had Landon who came in phenomenal. It looks like he was sandbagging lifts, just to surprise everyone. That dude's really freaking strong. And then Stefan came in, and Stefan was balling on the day. Actually, went over 2 keys, like whatever him and his coach wanted to go with on squat. And if he would have moved his second the way he moved his third, we would have loaded like four. We would have loaded 400 pounds for his bench press.
Mhm.
That'd been really fun for him on the day. And then deadlifts came around, and he still looked very strong. But man, on that second, grip came around, and he ended up losing the battle with Landon. But it's not a huge deal, man. Like you haven't competed in a year, you're always shaking some rust off, whatever it is.
Mhm.
But that was a really fun battle to watch, and it's like we weren't even on our end back there calculating like exactly like we were just going with what his coach is playing because they had a plan to qualify.
Yeah.
So we weren't even really necessarily worried about the head-to-head battle. We're
Yeah,
just trying to get,
this type of meet, they were just they have bigger plans than winning Truborn,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely,
because he's a great
and
lifter and he's got a great coach, so he's
yeah,
looking
so
up.
they'll be fine. And then I am blanking. Tony, who came in third?
Was his name is Clinton Matthews. Uh,
Oh yeah, coached by Soul out of Steel Society.
yeah,
No, Clinton's a really good lifter. He was fun to watch.
yeah, no, Clinton did great. He was definitely like one of the fan favorites too. They were chanting his name a lot. I think they were calling him Michael. I guess that's how what he goes by. But nah, man, he did great. He went like 7 for 9. He was hitting. I mean, he missed a few lifts, obviously, but for the most part, he was hitting his lifts really well and just kind of like just surprised. He surprised me. I didn't know who he was, so it kind of came out of nowhere and came out with a 458 or 448 dots.
Yeah, I think he didn't he miss his third squat, and I don't think it was one of those squats that I just completely pancaked you.
Yeah, he missed third squat and third bench. But besides those three guys, we had a couple very interesting things that happened as well. In my opinion, looks like it was the deadlifters, not the deadlifters day that day. We can start off with Joel Chong. Um, he came in and went 6 for 9. I know his plan was just to qualify for nationals, and unfortunately, I don't think he was able to get that because he just fell short on that deadlift. He was like having a perfect day. I know he missed like 2.5 keys on bench, but
Yeah, was it 325?
yeah, but he literally just hit 319, so it was like literally wasn't anything. Went into the deadlifts and he just missed the second and third. I guess he couldn't. Don't know what happened there. I guess it just fell apart. But
Hook grip, going hook grip sometimes.
Yeah,
yeah,
all the thumbs.
yeah. I
Because I
mean, that's
mean,
kind of.
yeah, I mean, ideally, maybe like if he got that bench, that just alone, he pulls that 307 or whatever it is he needs to go to Nats.
I mean, he went for 305, I think, and
I thought it was 310.
oh,
683.
683 he went for.
Yeah,
Check it.
whatever. Yeah, it's 683.4. Let me
Oh,
switch mine
okay.
to kilos.
I don't know why I thought it was 672,
Yeah, so he
but
went
Yeah.
for 310.
that's a big. I mean, that's a huge second.
I mean, he went
So
20
Well, the
kg
well
drop to the floor.
the plan was that's exactly what he needed to qualify. He wasn't going to take a
Mm.
third.
He was just gonna hit it and be done. Shoot for the stars, get 2 attempts at it.
yeah, I mean, it
I mean, yeah, like
fell out
I
of his
know
hands.
I know that was the plan. So I mean, it's just
But
and And I mean, it wasn't like hook grip didn't fail him like right off the jump on that first one. Like it was one of those ones you hate to see, those exaggerated arm flails. Like it's just one of those ones that suck so much.
And with
I've
him
been
having
there, man, but mine will be like, I, when I was working with hook, I'd be like with 495, and I just couldn't do it on the day.
mhm,
So it really blows when you miss qualifying for Nats.
yeah. And with him, his best deadlift being 305 and him hitting 302.5 at CNATs and then attempting that 325, I'm sure he wasn't too uncomfortable with that big jump, trying to pull 310. I know he's did some YOLO pulls that were pretty crazy. So I'm sure he was still in his element. Just
Nah,
wasn't there
I
that
mean,
day.
yeah, 683 wasn't a crazy call at all.
And then other than that, you're talking about not being the deadlifter's day. It sucks. Our boy JoJo, he was
Yes, indeed.
absolutely balling on the day, like nailing PRs. He nailed like I don't know how much of a PR it was on squat, but he like squatted 400 pounds in meat, like huge. And then he tied his PR with his second attempt on bench, and the third was pretty damn close. And then I actually didn't see his first deadlift. So Tony, you want to like go through that?
I didn't it was like he missed it. This is what I'm saying, like people don't understand. Like whenever you're lifting in the gym, it doesn't always carry over because if you look at his deadlifts, like if you ask any regular gym person, like you would think it was good. But apparently, like one of his knees was like a little soft or something like that. And they called him on it. And he went up because I mean the 529, the opener went really well. It moved good. I think he just like maybe
It,
like
they they
misgrooved and unlocked a
they were
knee.
probably thinking that it was one of those things where it moved so well that
He was off
but
It
balance.
unlocks a knee, yeah, which
He
that
was too
happens.
strong.
Yeah. That's I mean, like honestly, in my opinion, if I wouldn't have jumped all the way to 568 or whatever he
Yeah.
went to,
17 and a
but
half kilo
but
jump.
it's not a crazy thing at all. Like you can't sit here and be like that's stupid. But
He's a tiny lifter. 17 and a half kilos is a pretty big percentage jump, in
that's
my
true. But his
opinion.
deadlift is huge. It's not something
Yeah.
like I'm sure he feels comfortable taking like 550. Absolutely,
I mean, he is the one and only JoJo. He is that guy.
I can't remember how the second and third went down, but he missed them, and uh that was like the first because that was on session one. So that was when I was
I
like,
think the second he had got to around around his knees and then it was just like from there it's just like running out of juice, man. Like I can't. If I recall, the third did not go very well.
Mm.
yeah. So that was insane to see. That was like the
It
one of those
sucks.
like what do you say? Like when I was commentating, I was dead like on the mic. I was like, I don't know what to say because like I was like hyping him up on like for his. I'm like, yo, wait till y'all see him pull. Like this guy's crazy. And then like he got there and it was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe he just
No, actually, I
popped
mean,
out.
you and the guys I was with, like a couple of my clients we were with from Statesboro, I knew a couple of the guys competing actually, and they were talking about like wanting to win or whatever, just because most people do when they come in their first meet, wanting to win their weight
Hmm.
class or whatever it is, and then we had like slid it to them. They were like, "Hey, like this JoJo guy is." Like, his deadlift's crazy, so we had dampened a couple guys' moods, and some
Yeah,
people, some
things
people,
turn. Yeah,
it goes crazy. Yeah.
that's the thing. Because I mean, yeah, like back on that, I mean, I was talking to my boy Parker. Parker is a 67, the same as JoJo, and he is like, oh, I don't know how much that guy can lift, and I was like, I didn't want to tell him like, yeah, you're not beating him.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you're about to get smoked. Like,
yeah, I didn't want to tell him that, but like, I was like, I'm like, I wouldn't sleep on him. Like, I'm pretty sure he's really really strong,
Hmm.
and come to find out, he realized like he ended up finding out. Like, I think I told Andre about JoJo, and then Andre told him, and he was like, yeah, like I don't really care. I just want to come in and like at least get top three or something. He said something like that, and then JoJo bombed out, and he ended up winning the Open. So things like that happen. Like,
but if anyone is listening, guys, please do not put emphasis on winning your weight classes, Ex- especially at local meets, man. Just come in here and do your thing. You keep grinding one day, those things matter, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
Don't listen to him. It only matters if you win your weight class. The dots battle doesn't matter.
if you lose, like you weren't even
No,
trying
bro.
like that. It
Because
wasn't even
shout out Gage
that deep.
in his first meet without telling his coach, coming in and being like 69 kilos in the 83 kilo class after doing a crazy water cut. Because those things matter. And why are you doing that in your very first meet?
He wasn't 69. I think he was like 76
That's crazy.
or 77.
Let me see this because I want to know. Nah,
Good boy.
69 would be crazy.
69 is a 70. 69 would be under 75. So he wouldn't be an 82. But 77 is 69 pounds, I think, which is what he weighed. But anyways, we can move on from the recap, right? I think
We want
that's
to leave
everything.
Truborn now.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next topic.
Let me ask you one more. Was there any lifter that really caught your eye the whole time? Like this was the funnest guy to watch at the meet, funnest girl to watch at the meet. Like your highlight of the day was watching this person. Was there anybody, or was it all pretty great across the board? Obviously, for Avery, he was handling people, so it's less. He didn't get to see as much as you did, Tony.
Oh, yeah, I guess for me, I mean, yeah, dude, like straight up, like Kelly was really cool to watch because like I guess I had no expectation of this lady, like I didn't know who she was.
Mm-hmm.
And she came out and like blew all of her absolute like all the weights were so much heavier than everybody else's in her flight. So it was like it would go like 303 squat to 419 squat. And you're like, wow, like it's crazy. And then it would go like a one 182 opener on bench to a 220 opener on bench. And then she like moves it the way I would, maybe. Like it was easy. So
Uh-huh.
it was just really cool. I like Kelly. It was really cool.
All right. Beautiful. So then we'll move on to our biggest topic of the day. This is podium talk, so we're gonna have a little rankings here, maybe a little argument. So we're going to Sheffield. We're a little early, but we want to throw some predictions out for the wild card. I don't know how we want to handle this, but we'll go to the guys first since it's easier. It's one slot open. Do y'all want to
All
give
right,
anything early
Tony.
before I read these off?
I'm gonna put Tony. Tony, who's the 12th man?
Pull up the Instagram if you need it.
Oh, well, I'm assuming it's gonna be between three people, unless like in my head, I see only three people having really a chance,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be either Waskar, Gavin, or Taylor.
Mm.
That's what I see. I mean, maybe I'm like,
Well,
I'll show you where you're blinded.
yeah,
Avery, you can go ahead with your opinion.
it just sucks that there's already 393s.
Yeah.
I think Gavin's gonna get completely skipped over. Like he's probably later in the totem pole,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just
wait,
there's too many already. You can't have four. It's just not gonna happen.
who's the third? Because it's Gustav and it's Keiko. Who's the third?
Carlos.
They,
It's
Carlos,
Carlos.
bro,
Bro, get
He's an
him the
847.
get him
847 total.
out.
you're making enemies already,
Wait,
bro.
he has an 847 total?
That's what was on the Sheffield repost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. He got sixth at Worlds in Group B.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be in it, in my
So
opinion, but
I think bro. But the thing is I think it might be bench or something. But he got silver in Group B, so like in relative to the world record, like, and he's representing South America, bro.
yeah.
okay. Well, I mean, we'll see. I don't. I mean, I'd rather see Gavin. I think the world would rather see him. Obviously, like Avery said, like it wouldn't be the
Gavin
best for
can. I
exposure.
mean, doesn't Gavin have to do PA nationals anyway? That's in the beginning of the year.
Technically, yeah, but he still does not guarantee the spot, I don't believe, because of Keiko. Or maybe he can guarantee himself a spot. I think Keiko has priority at his Sheffield performance. and Gavin can.
I know, but I'm saying, don't they all have to do PA Nationals?
Gavin for sure does. I don't think Chance will come back this
Well,
year.
because aren't these meets like 4 weeks, 5 weeks apart?
Yeah, they're very close,
So
almost too close. Let me read off these selections so y'all know all of it. So we got 266s, we got Panna, and we got Kyoto. We got 274s, we got Calais, Carl, Johansson, however you want to say it. We're going to go with Calais. You got Tim Monagatti at 74. You got 83 is just Delaney, and I believe it'll probably stay that way. 93, you got Jonathan Keiko, Gustav Hedlund, and Carlos. Why? I don't know. It has to be something with the South African or the African something. He's got to win something over there that
you saw the post, bro. He's 94% of the world record, bro.
Yeah, but that's still like Gavin's total is 860. I mean, that's just a very good step ahead. But 105 Anatoly above everyone else. Just another level. He's not gonna have any competition. 120 got Tony Cliff. Doubt we could put another 120 in there. 120 plus Jesus, the champ. So I'll tell you what I got. And I think the person Tony's overlooking is Brian Lee. Because you got Pana at 705, Kyoto at 692. Brian Lee on a 5 for 9 day is 695.5. So he was 10 keys off from the win on a 5 for 9 day. Which I blame that on his like handling. His best is what is it? 705. Or I don't know what his best is. I don't know, bad journalism. But that's where I'm putting my vote. Waskar would technically be the most fair if you want to explain the Sergey situation.
Team Waskar, because it just does not seem right, in my opinion, to have this big spectacle of an event and one weight class does not have any representation at all.
So explain the Sergey. Explain to the crowd who may not know, who aren't following the sport as deep as we are.
You're talking about the previous.
Yeah, I'm talking about the juiced guy.
Yeah, the previous everyone who the total that everyone's Sheffield bids are getting based off of is from a guy who got popped.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming with hence total.
Yeah.
Huh?
His Sergey's total is 669.
Yeah.
That's a good portion ahead of him.
Some quick context, if people don't know, in order to go to Sheffield, you have to be like a certain range from a particular person's world records. And this person's world record was done while he was on drugs, making Waskar, the guy that got kind of snubbed, his performance, he was a world champion, best in the world, but still didn't get close enough to the record because that record is just so high. Because
but if the guy was popped, it should not stand. You know? So, and you can like based on the population, and there's just not that many guys down there in that weight class. I understand people not wanting the draw, like that. Those small weight classes don't have the draw of lifting these absolute weights. But there's no reason Waskar should not. He's the only world champion not on the roster.
Yeah,
that's crazy, and he's doing very impressive things in the weight class. It's just the guy ahead of him was a pet head.
Mm-hmm. And if we look at the numbers, Waskar's 20 kg above the next 59. So I mean, he's a good portion ahead, but then he's like what 70, 40 kg under Sergey's total.
But is Waskar what to any specific record? What's his proximity to it? Because the criteria for Sheffield are the world record total, how close you are to it. If you won last year at Worlds or whatever, you got an automatic bid or whatever, or whatever the case was. B, like, can you break a specific world record? Which that's kind of the thing that doesn't make sense going against Gavin's case is there's no one more obvious to break a squat world record than a guy who's done it 2 times and has gotten robbed.
Yeah.
And then they want to represent regions, which in my opinion is very valid. And I mean, I would make a case that it's not right that so many people are SBD athletes, and I know it's an SBD event, but
Yeah. But yeah, ultimately SBD makes the decisions, but as far as Waskar being close to records, he's 17.5 kg away from squat. He's 30 kg away from bench and 15 kg away from the deadlift.
I don't know how much you can guarantee, but I mean the deadlift's not crazy, you
Yeah,
know.
that's what he's closest to for sure. That's what I could see him gaining. But
But I mean,
I just don't think it's his time.
in that sense, I guess he's like not a shoe in to like try to break a world record.
Mhm.
So that makes sense, you
But
know.
you
But
do raise a good point with the having every class represented, like the women's when we get there, it's very beautiful the way it laid out and how there's three wild card spaces and how evenly it's fallen into us. But I just don't think it's Waskar's time. And as far as Taylor goes, obviously, I don't think he's fallen off. I think he just needs some time. He's saying on podcasts that he's ready to go. He's better than ever. I think that's all just campaigning so he can get a spot. I think he needs this
are
break
there
and needs to.
are there 374s?
There's two 74s right now, and it's Carl, Calais, and Tim,
Allie and
who
Tim.
who
Well,
total
I
point
mean,
5 above Taylor
you
on a 7 for 9 day. But
in that case, I mean, not that I think that Taylor's going to come out here and act like he's actually all that he's saying he is, but you could argue there should be 374s.
and with the legacy of Taylor,
Yeah,
having him there
absolutely.
and having a
And
revenge
yeah,
on his second loss ever, or
mhm.
third maybe. But I just don't. I think Taylor needs the rest, in my opinion. I don't know. That's kind of just a bias towards me. I feel like he should wait, come back PA Nats. I don't know if Perk's coming over, what his timeline is, how that works with the suspensions and the time off. But I think Taylor needs to take that rest and come back.
Perk is still currently on the USAPL Raw Nats.
Yeah. So
Then
I don't.
yeah, I mean he won't be doing PA Nats. He can't.
Yeah, it'll be too early. So I think Taylor should wait, go back to Worlds, get his revenge there. Maybe come in, hit the QT at PA Nats, secure a spot, and go. So a couple other notable names I have here is Enna and Jurens. So Jurens didn't perform his best at Worlds. I know I'm a Jurens meat rider. I wanted Jurens to win it all, but Jurens' best total is 820.5. His total at Worlds was 790, and Delaney we're looking at 815 at Worlds. Jurens
Well,
got a good squat.
I think
Nah, neither.
I know there's notable
I
names.
mean off the criteria, Anna can absolutely go in there and fucking
It's his own
pull the
deadlift record,
pull the world
370.
record. Like that,
Well,
like I'm just saying that automatically gives him one of the stronger cases, I believe.
Hmm.
I think, I didn't even say who I wanted to go personally. I didn't
Yeah,
even
we just
say
got to keep
well.
talking about it.
I
Well,
don't. I actually don't want to hear your opinion.
Yeah, Tony, just stay out. No, I'm just kidding, bro. Go ahead. I mean,
well,
it can go many ways.
I just feel like, yeah, like you guys have already glossed over everything. Brian Lee, I feel like Brian Lee should like be in Sheffield. I think he
Mhm.
should be over Kyoto.
Yeah.
Because he
Well,
literally
Kyoto's
beat.
he's another one of those regional things. Like he won whatever, wherever he's at, and that's how he kind of slid into Sheffield.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess so. It just kind of sucks because Brian literally beat Kyoto and came in second. Brian already took a world record on his
Yeah.
opener on deadlift, so it's like he's in range for world records. Like he
Hmm.
Yeah,
can put
I
up a
guess
show.
if with everything, with all the context we kind of put around it, I think I'd go Brian Lee, Taylor. I'm I'm leaving in preference of whatever it is, and not that I'm leaving Gavin off because I want because I absolutely think he's probably over Brian and most qualified guy to go,
Yeah.
but it looks like he's getting left off in my opinion. So I'll
Hmm.
go Brian, Taylor, Enna because I mean like he can just go in there and pull a world record.
Yeah.
That's how I think in it should go based off of the qualifications. And
Mhm.
Anna's got the and it also would have the region thing going for him.
Hmm. And as far as Brian Lee and Kyoto going, Kyoto's best total is 712.5. Brian Lee holds the deadlift record at 300.5. Kyoto's best pull is 300. So they're both going to be contending for that if Brian Lee gets the invite. The way in my mind, I'm thinking the most analytical, statistically correct person is Brian Lee. But this is Sheffield. This is SBD. This is who's the biggest draw. Ultimately, that's Taylor. I think
Yeah,
Taylor needs the break, but Taylor is the biggest draw out of all these names. And
yeah,
setting up a battle, a rematch against Carly and Tim.
yeah. Yeah, with Taylor, bro, he's an SBD athlete, and he literally like was like the king of the IPF for like half a decade or so.
Mhm.
So it's like I feel like it'd be like insane for them to not bring Taylor back.
Yeah.
Um, especially since you said like
He's
Gavin,
the. Oh my God.
Gavin already there was already 393s, so can't
Mhm.
bring Gavin back. Can't have four guys in there.
Four
Um,
out of 12. 4 out of 12 is crazy.
yeah, exactly. So you know, they like their battles at Sheffield. They do. And everybody else likes it too. It just makes it more entertaining. So honestly, I would see Taylor because Taylor literally just got out of like the craziest, like most heated final deadlift session like ever.
Mhm.
And it was so close that it's like,
Yeah.
it's not fair to, kind of like, yeah, like call him washed or like throw him under the even though, I have said things myself or whatever, but I think
Yeah.
I think Taylor should. I wouldn't be mad if Taylor got that spot,
Mhm.
but
Man,
realistically,
I just feel like like if we're talking about draw and competitiveness, I would argue that like, and I know he's a multi-time champion. I would argue you leave Tony Cliff off and just put
You can't
Waskar in.
you can't do that. He qualified. He was it. He's not a wild
I
card. You can't.
know, bro, but like
So
that.
disrespectful.
No, Tony Cliff and Jesus, those those are automatic. There's the winners
Yeah.
in those like. Well, it's just not weight classes, but like
Yeah. But to win worlds to qualify, they are far above the rest, is what you're trying to say.
yeah. No, I know, man. It's just like that. Like Tony Cliff is a strong dude, but in that's a class. That's a class where he has absolutely no comp.
Hmm. In IPF.
Yeah, yeah, in
We,
IBF.
we throw Rondell out there, he's a
Yeah, yeah,
bench
yeah, yeah,
warmer,
yeah, yeah. Well, Rondell's got an Article 14, so
Ooh. But yeah, and the one person we're leading out of this who's the true invite, the man we all want to see is Nick Manders. We want Nick Manders at Sheffield.
but he doesn't. He
He doesn't meet
if we're
any of the
going off everything,
criteria.
he doesn't meet the same qualifications that Anna does.
Frog on the wall. We need Nick Manders. I
No,
want his
he's the
takes.
people's champ.
I want him commentating at least. Put him on the
He's
booth with
he's
Ryan.
absolutely currently the people's champ, in my opinion.
He's the guy.
Like, but
Yeah.
Anna's got the deadlift over him,
Hmm.
overall placement over him.
Yeah. So let's just lock in picks. Let's start with you, Tony. Who is your guy, your prediction for the men's side?
yeah. I personally don't even want it to be this. I agree with Eli. I think he needs more time off, but it's probably going to be Taylor
Hmm.
because he's just the star, man, and they can make that storyline of him coming back after two bad performances or and him losing.
He's the poster boy, and like
Yeah.
Yeah,
when he
he's the money
bounces
man.
back, or like if when he bounces back, like the glazing will be crazy, dog.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
it'll
mean, when
be
he retires, he is one of like
Jumping and spinning on it, you know what I'm saying?
he
Like
when he
crazy,
retires,
dog.
he's in contention for GOAT. He is.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like
I mean, he's up
the
there. I mean, I'm not John Hack. I still follow untested side, so I'm not completely biased. John Hack's still above Taylor, but
if it
Taylor is
was up
probably
to
my number two.
yeah, it's probably gonna be
no,
Taylor. But if it was up to me, what I would do. Waskar gets the wild card. I would do that 90 kg Carlos guy. Take
Take
him
him
out for
out.
Gavin, and then Kyoto, you take him out for um Brian Lee, and then everybody's like, oh well, it's all American people or whatever, but
Because America's
dog, like
best.
that would be a freak show. Like dog, like imagine.
SBD is not an American company though.
Yeah.
They're not. They wouldn't exactly be happy about that.
I know that's what I'm saying. That would
Boo.
be the issue, but like, dude, like that would be the freak show that's Sheffield's supposed to be. I mean,
I mean,
it is what it is.
you're kind of explaining why we should just pull all our athletes from the international scene and just have a crazy USAPL, not even USAPL, a crazy
United
United
Federation.
States League, bro.
Yeah,
That you like that,
but
yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother topic you could get into. I mean, how the USA gives worlds a whole lot of legitimacy,
mhm,
but hey, what do
yeah.
I know?
So as far as me for this, I'm going with Brian Lee just because statistically he should be the guy. I know Taylor's going to get most likely the invite unless they just Taylor they're trying to save him. Like in my world, the UFC terms, sometimes you try to save a guy from a defeat to build him up to a greater fight so you can make more money. That's possible. I'm gonna go Brian Lee because he statistically matches up better than anyone else on this list. But there's one angle I want to bring up before Avery gives his pick. So you look at the card, you have battles in every weight class basically, except 83, where there could be a battle. So that's where we might get the Enna or the Jurgens. Both of them are from Europe, Africa, so they could get that regional kind of placement. Like Jurgens' 820 could qualify him to jump in there, even though he had a
Out
bad
out of the
performance.
men, out of the men, what all regions are represented?
Dude, I don't even want to like try to guess most of these people. I'm not even gonna answer that question. That's a stupid question.
All right, never mind. But I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, even if it somehow came down to Manders, like
He
Canada
ain't
is
getting
North
in.
America, like
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. Like Ray Williams, I know was planning to do North Americans to try to slide into Sheffield or slide into a world spot, but I don't know if any of that ever went down the way he planned. But I
He did go to
mean,
North Americans.
I haven't followed that too closely, but I mean, Ray still holds the squad, I'm pretty sure. But like Tony Cliff and Jesus, they have no contention, so we know it's not going to be a 120 or 120 plus. Anatoly's far above anyone. He kind of blew everyone out of the water this year. Really surprised me and performed.
I
So it
guess
ain't a 105.
I guess the conversation to be had would be is Jesus surely can't he can't be a lock if he obliterated the records last
Hmm.
time.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into who wins it on our preview. I don't think
No,
Jesus
yeah.
can do it.
No, I was just saying, I mean, if he did,
That'd be, he
he's the
already did the
man.
greatest. He did the greatest thing. He already became the man, and then he
Oh,
ups it
oh,
again.
oh, you won this competition where we gave the best lifter wasn't a total or anything. It was the person who had the highest percentage over the
Hmm.
world record total, and then you came back and did it the same year, the next year. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're him, actually.
So if I want to like kind of just throw a thing into the future, the best person to win is most likely a 66 in my opinion. The total record is 710.5, I believe. I mean, Brian Lee's right on that, Pana's right on that, Kyoto's right on that. Kyoto has a 712. They're probably just not international. So I'm thinking
Did,
it's going to be a 66 this year.
didn't you say earlier that Brian had 690 on like a 5 or 6 or 9 day?
Yeah, so he went 695.5 on a 5 for 9 day. And most of it was attempt calling. He traveled, probably didn't have the best mindset, kind of slid in for the win. Still, Pana, he produced, but I think the total right there is going to be broken. I think all those people have a lot more room to grow. Kyoto has the ability to push Brian Lee on deadlift and vice versa. So I believe that total is going to win it. But yeah, so who's your pick, Avery?
Um, just because I stick with my guys, I'm sticking with Waskar out of fairness and representation.
Yeah, and that's a good argument, just having every class. And that kind of brings us to the women's side where it is beautiful down the list. I love reading it. Just one person in every class except the 84 pluses has two. And this side is
Yeah.
going to be a little bit more complicated because we have three open slots. So let me read these before I let y'all take it over. So you got 47, you got Tiffany Chapone. 52, you got Evie Corrigan. 57 is Natalie Richards. 63 is Carola Gara. 69 is Leah Bavois. 76 is Carlina. 84 is Amanda. 84 plus is Brittany and Sunita. So again, beautiful down the list. Are you raising your? Or is someone raising their hand? Let's go to Tony. What do you want to talk about?
Okay, so for some reason, I already know like the three girls I want because I totally forgot about like the female Sheffield picks
Hmm.
prior to this because like We just never mentioned it.
You
But
ignore females, Tony. You
no,
ignore
I don't
female
ignore them.
lifting.
It's crazy because I could like figure it out like way faster than like you would think, which
Yeah.
shows that I don't ignore females. So yeah, so
Women.
we're missing a lot of people here, but
I have
top of
one
my
for
head,
sure lock. I have one for sure lock that better be on everyone's list.
okay, I got the I think these are my picks. Top of
Mm-hmm.
my head,
I'll write
didn't
it
think
down.
about it at all, didn't research. I'm thinking we should do John Jacobs, huge deadlift, obviously the probably world record deadlift, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Huge deadlift, super close nail biter with Natalie Richards. They got to run that back. That'd be a fire battle. Two, Agatha Sitko, crazy bench, 100% going to get a world record bench. Um, she was like right there. She's like young too. She's getting stronger. She's right there with Carlina. And then three, off the top of my head, this one might be wrong, but the first two I'm like sure of.
Mm-hmm.
Three, I'm thinking Jessica Bittner, huge face in Canada, huge face. Look at Eli. She's like a huge face in just women powerlifting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that could be a three-way battle in the what is that class? The 74 or the
76
76?
76, yeah.
Yeah, the 76 class. That'd be a three-way battle. Again, that'd be I guess like the third time that Agatha Sitko and Jessica went against each other, and the second time or the third time that they all three went again because they went Sheffield Worlds and then Sheffield again. Um, I think.
Not yet. They went Worlds, Sheffield Worlds. Or no,
No, they
one of them wasn't there. Carlina wasn't there, right?
yeah. So it was the first Worlds. It was
Jess
Jessica
and
and
Agatha.
Agatha, which was an insane battle. That might have been
Mm-hmm.
like the
Jess's beautiful
craziest.
deadlift.
Yeah, the craziest like female battle ever. Then it was Sheffield. All three of them were there. Carlina came out, squatted, won.
Yeah.
And Worlds, Carlina won again. Agatha was right there, and then Jessica kind of just like
Mm-hmm.
missed. I don't know. I think it was a bad day for her.
Yeah.
But hey, round four, throw it in there. Jessica, hopefully she can deadlift something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Agatha can bench like 335 or something, and then Carlina will squat like 520 or something, and then
Yeah.
that's just what I say. I say those
So
three
Now,
off the
Eli.
top of my head.
Now, Eli, you give me top three, and then is there people with honorable mentions? You think?
let me just roll through the list of people that I have possible. So I have Jod Jacob is a lot for me. Like everyone should have Jod Jacob. I said her name weird on the top of their list. I have Jod, Jess, Agatha, Jessica Espinal, Heather Connor, Noemi Alibert, who's probably my pick, and Bonica Brown. We don't want
Bomaka?
Bomica out. Miss Podium texter herself.
Damn, dude, there's a crazy amount of wild cards
Yeah,
for the
so
girls.
this one's just so tough.
Wow.
Like I want Jess there. Jess is my favorite female lifter to
I don't
watch
I don't know if
always.
Jess would squeeze in, to be honest.
That's
Yeah.
where I'm struggling. So if I go through their
Yeah.
numbers, let's stick to the 76s. The overall total is Carlina at 600. You got Agatha, who got 590.5 at Worlds. You got Jess, who got 567, but Jess has the deadlift record, and Jess's best is 585. So she's in the running, but it's hard to put her there because of how she performed at Worlds, even though her deadlift is crazy. So she might slide in based on just her deadlift. But if I go down to, I have Agatha and Jod basically locked. So my other third, because Heather Connor's interesting. She went 407 on a 6 for 9 day, and the best is 410 in a class that needs 428. So Tiffany's just above them right now. Turbo Tiff's she's got that locked. So that screws both of those 47s. Noemi Alibert. Evie's sitting there with 460 at Worlds. I believe the best total, let me look up on my list, is 460. Noemi Alibert has a 450, and her best is 454. On a 6 for 9 day, she did 450. So she's my third for the 52s. That was a lot of names I just threw at you. Bonica could obviously come in, but you already have 284 pluses. No one contends with Amanda. Who else? No one contends with Leah. Yeah. So for me, I'm gonna go Jad, Agatha, and Noemi Albert. I want
Okay.
Jess in there though. I want Jess in there so bad because she's my favorite lifter to watch.
Man, well, yeah, Jod and Agatha are definite locks. And man, when you threw Heather out there, I started thinking about the deadlift, man.
Mm-hmm.
But
She holds the deadlift record at 200 kg.
yeah,
So
no, I'm gonna go with Heather at 3, and I'm gonna go honorable mention to Noemi.
mm-hmm. See, I think
Can we
Noemi kind of
explain
just
the
slides under the radar because Evie kind of sandbagged that 460. I'm not gonna lie, she's kind of sliding up. So I mean, that 10 kilo difference probably is a lot more because Noemi is. I mean, Evie is
And
what
I'm
I'm
just thinking
thinking.
maybe just with the women's you can slide another American in there because the women are kind of more equally represented, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, for
very
sure.
the women, dude, the women off of the wild. Honestly, I'm about to be way more tapped into the women
Mm-hmm.
because they look way better than the
Yeah,
guys, at least right now.
just evenly distributed is just beautiful across the board.
I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know anybody that like watches like women like we do, at least women IPF shit stuff. But if you're watching this, like,
Tap
whenever
in.
that meet comes around, like, tap in a little bit to the girls because these girls are actually genuinely like entertaining as fuck. Like, they are very fun to watch.
Yeah.
No, and
So
I
I,
mean it can really be argued just the more people that watch them, and like especially the more women that also watch them, it just opens up their minds to what's actually more capable, because that's the biggest thing a lot of people struggle with, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'll never deadlift 595 or whatever. You can't put that kind of limit on things. If a lot of women saw what these women were doing and how they look while doing it, there'd
Mm-hmm.
be a lot more of them doing it and posting that they do it.
yeah, I mean, a 185 pound woman pulled 600 pounds
Yeah.
in last Sheffield, and that was insane. Like, nobody would ever think, like, that was like a crazy moment. Amanda Lawrence, that was insane. So that's I just if you're watching this and you don't watch IPF women stuff, boy
Mm-hmm.
or girl, whoever you are, watch it. You won't be mad. You won't be bored because that stuff, really good
Yeah.
stuff right there.
So I mean, I really like this side of the Sheffield because we all had the same top two, but different thirds. So like when we did our little IPF Worlds fantasy draft kind of deal, those were the favorite matchups where that third spot was just open. So another thing for Noemi is that she holds the squat record. I didn't say that, but she holds the squat record. So that's another thing going for her. But I don't know, everything's just distributed very well. As far as like way too far out predictions, I think it's Leah Bavois taking it. She's got to beat 549. Her best is 556. She's back healthy. Her world's performance was very nice. Her last Sheffield, she came in a little injured, a little hurt, still performed. I still got to do a little bit more studying, but that's my early prediction.
Well, I'm not throwing out any of those, but good looks, you, bro.
Yeah, it's a little too early, but
I mean, it's got to be Leah, dude. She's so over. I mean, and I don't think Amanda, because I mean, Amanda couldn't replicate what she did at Sheffield at Worlds. Now,
yeah,
granted, that was like a 12-week turnaround.
yeah.
It's just hard for me to like imagine Amanda pulling more than 600.
And
I just
Worlds
can't.
was wicked fast paced. Like it was moving because it was on whatever
But I mean,
Euros.
Sheffield was as well. Like, there's only like so many people out there in that flight.
Yeah,
I just can't
yeah.
imagine Amanda pulling or lifting more than what she lifted at Sheffield, bro. So I'm gonna go with Leah again because Leah, like you said, was coming off an injury and she went up a weight class. She has like a ton of room to go up. So
Hmm.
for sure, I think it's Leah.
But yeah. So any last comments on Sheffield?
No, that was
nah,
fine.
I think we did it pretty well, to be honest.
Hmm. And I think from here on, we got to kind of prepare our Nats preview. That's probably will be one of our next episodes.
No,
What do
I
you think?
mean for sure. I think like those bigger meets, like we can definitely like we'll just have more research going.
Yeah,
But I mean, with just like local meets, like we can get everything that we can try to, But like so
yeah.
many people don't post their lifts, or
Our
like
new lifters that are
just
elite.
don't people don't want to compete enough, man. Which
Hmm.
I haven't competed since February, but
And we'll try to have to really respect
Hey
Leah's gonna
guys,
win.
I just want to be people's friends. And
I'm
Eli,
not a reflection of Nakama. I'm my own brand here. Biggest hater in the sport.
Hey, whatever, man. I'm here for it all. I'm here for the love, the hate, everything in between.
Yeah. I mean, this is just a classroom session, you
oh,
know.
I feel
I
like
just realized I wasn't even logged into mine. I was on Sarah's the whole time.
Oh well, she did
I feel
great.
like I feel like people aren't gonna like me no matter what. So
Yeah,
they're
probably.
not gonna like me. Just give them a reason, you know.
Yeah. And people
All
don't
right.
know me, so I can do whatever I want. I'm under the radar.
He's a ghost. No one's gonna DM him.
But yeah,
They don't know his that
we've been going over an hour. I have to clip
well
some
over.
stuff out. Avery made my job harder.
I think that wraps it up though. So,
Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, text Tony a secret code. Let's go with Leah wins Sheffield, and he will Venmo you $3.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right,
all
let's
right.
quit this recording. Peace out.